Hey guys, what's up? This is MooneyB123 coming to you today. I want to do a comparison between these two instrument tuners. This is the KLIQ UberTuner, and this is the Snark SN-8. And of course, Snark has a lot of different model numbers, but this is the SN-8, which I think is their newest one. They may have one a little bit newer, but we're going to compare these two. So I bought both of these tuners at the same time. I bought them on August 5th, 2015. Today is November 23rd, 2015. So I have had these for a little over 3 months. And I wouldn't say that I have extensive use with these two, but I've used them quite a bit. I use them, you know, probably a few times a week, 2 or 3 times a week. So I have kind of figured out a few of the little things that I like about each one of them. And I don't use a lot of the advanced features in there. I use it for a guitar tuner. That's why I have these. So I'm gonna kind of talk about some of the things, you know, just from my basic thing. I'm not gonna talk about a lot of specs, but talk about some things that I notice is a difference between these two. Okay, first of all, on price, the KLIQ UberTuner is, everything I've seen is it's always gonna be more expensive than the Snark. The KLIQ is usually around $22, somewhere in that neighborhood. Sometimes it's a little bit more, a little bit less, but somewhere around $22, $23. The Snark, and again, mine's the SN-8. Snark has some other ones that are a little bit cheaper, but this one is generally around the $13, $14 mark. Okay, now, while I'm talking about price, let's go ahead and just talk about warranty. I've seen on the KLIQ that it has a 3-year warranty, and on the Snark, I really didn't look very closely, to be honest. It may have some kind of a warranty, but to be honest, whenever I'm buying something for $22, and especially something for $12, $13, $14, warranty really doesn't matter that much to me. You know, if something goes wrong with this and then I have to send it back to KLIQ for them to fix it, and taking time, or them just, well, I guess they would just send you a new one. Probably they wouldn't worry about fixing it. But honestly, I really wouldn't be, the warranty doesn't matter that much to me. But I will say this, okay, about these guys who make the UberTuner, is I've seen people who've reviewed these on Amazon, and the person or the team of people who have developed this and made this, they always respond to those. So when you're dealing with this company, you can very easily deal with them. So the KLIQ UberTuner definitely has good customer service. And in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if once I put this review out, those guys are going to mention something on this video. But you will get good customer service from this tuner. And I also want to say at the beginning, I like both of these tuners. They're both accurate. They both do what I want them to do. So really, both of them are good in my opinion. So I want to give you some other things to consider as differences between these two. Okay, next thing I want to do is I want to talk about brightness. So I'm going to turn the lights off and we'll look at how bright these are in the pitch black. Okay, let me just turn on one of these lights so you can see when it's just a little bit of light. The KLIQ may be just a little bit brighter, but not much of a difference, I don't think. Alright, on viewing angles, I've tested this and I think they're nearly exactly the same for viewing angle. Viewing angles where you can see the screen. Once you get it to a certain angle, to your vision, it gets to where you can't see it. So I'm just gonna, right now they're on, but you can't see them, and I'm gonna bring them up until, see, they both basically wash out at the exact same spot. Of course, whenever your line of sight is perpendicular to the screen, of course it's going to look the best. Talking about whenever it's not perpendicular. Okay, now I'm going to show you how quick these things get a reading on a string. So I'm going to be quiet for a second, and I'm going to pluck a string and see how fast it snaps to showing in tune. And on both of these, they show right at the very, very similar. Of course they should, to the same thing being sharp or flat. But I'm going to be quiet for a second, pluck it, and see how fast they pick up. So my A is sharp there. So I'm just going to tune my A a little bit and watch how it adjusts. And so you can see there, those are very, very similar to the time it takes. The Snark may have just a tiny edge, but really they're very, very similar. Also, you'll notice whenever it's in tune on the KLIQ, there's a actual green circle that goes around the letter. See how you have the green circle around the A, that's saying that's in tune. On the Snark, it just has that, just has the line. And I don't really have a preference on that. Saw somebody on Amazon on one of the reviews mentioning they like the green circle, and that's fine. And he was talking about comparing it to this, how this one's always fluctuating, going a little bit left and a little bit right. I actually like that because I think it gives me a little better sense of where I'm supposed to be at. So I think as far as accuracy goes in tuning, I think they're about the same. And these two tuners are not made to be like high precision tuners. They're just not. They're made to be in a situation where you're playing with a small little group and you just want to get real close real quick. Okay, so the clips on these, this is the KLIQ, this is the Snark, and you can see the difference in the size of the clip. And this one's bigger, it's got more area in here to grab on, but I've never really noticed a problem, but there is more area. That might be a good thing. So one thing that's mentioned a lot, and this is true I think, is on the Snark. Okay, so where this little ball fits into the back part of this, where this little arm that reaches between these, which is kind of basically a banana shape, it tapers down to being pretty small diameter right there at the neck of that. And I've seen people talking about that being a weak point and that those break real easy at those points. And same thing on this side over here. It goes down to a real small taper down at the neck of that, and how that breaks real easy. And not just, maybe it happens, but I've seen a lot of people reporting that that does happen. So the Snark definitely has a weak point right there, where the KLIQ does not have that. You have this solid elbow. Looks basically like a piece of elbow macaroni, and it just goes up into there, and it swivels like that on there. And then this thing hinges like this, and it's swivels on here also. So you have that range of motion. You can put this wherever you want it. And then same thing on here. It's the motion is obviously, I like this range of motion better. This works better for me. On the Snark, it's kind of hard to get it in a place exactly right. Although, I mean, this overall has better range of motion, but whenever I put this on my guitar, I never have a problem getting this in a place where I can see it. So even though this one, I could get in all kinds of positions, I've never had a problem with getting this one to where I can see it hanging on my guitar either way. Either hanging over this, hanging back, whatever. This thing works out good also. Okay, both of these metronomes have a way to transpose where you can, instead of being in standard A 440, you can put it all the way from 430 to 450 in both of these, I believe. Okay, on the Snark, it has this tap metronome, which to me is kind of a gimmicky thing. It really is very, very limited in its use, because if I'm trying to tap out and find what the tempo is of a song, it's hard to be real consistent with pushing this button. I mean, it's a good button. It's very tactile, but it's just not it's not going to be precise enough to really get a good reading on the tempo. Okay, another thing about both of these that they have that's the same is they have an auto off feature, and I don't know how long it takes. It probably takes about maybe a minute to 2 minutes. And I was going to test that, but it really doesn't matter. But they both have an auto off feature, which is good for me because there's no way I would ever to remember to turn these off. they would be dead. It wouldn't take long at all till these things were dead. So after a minute or 2 minutes, something like that, both of these will automatically shut off for you. So that's a very good thing. Both of these use the same battery. They both use the CR2032 battery. Okay, then the last thing about these two is, well, the size of their screens. Obviously, the KLIQ has a bigger screen than the Snark does. But to me, that really doesn't matter, because all I want to know is, am I in E? Is this string set to E? And I can see that the E is basically the same size on here as it is on here. So that really, the size of the screen really doesn't matter to me. So the biggest feature that really makes one of these better for me is the power button. Okay, on the Snark, it's got this power button, and that's obviously why the screen is smaller, but the power button is front and center. I mean, you can't miss that. And watch how fast this thing turns on when I push the power button. Okay. Boom. On, off. On, off. On, off. On. So there's probably a half a second delay from me pushing the button, and I just have to barely push it, and it's on. Barely push it, and it's off. On the KLIQ, it's got this power button on the side along with these mode keys, but the power button is this top one. And so to power this on, I have to push and hold the power button for, it's like 3 seconds nearly. So I'm going to push it, and I'll tell you when I push it and see how long it takes for this thing to come on. I have to continue to hold it. If I just barely push it, it doesn't come on. Pushing it, nothing. All right, so I'm going to push it and hold it. See, it took probably 3 seconds for that to come on. And then to turn it off, I have to hold it for about the same amount of time, 3 to 4 seconds for it to go off. That right there is the Snark absolutely wins out on that. And to me, that's what matters. I mean, if I'm playing and I want to get in tune, if we're in the middle of playing something, I don't want to sit there and wait for a little bit. I want to know now, am I in tune? And I can hit that, boom, and go tune, and hit that, and I'm off. On this, I've got to reach up, and it's also hard because as you look at the front of this, there's nothing to distinguish what's what. So if this has gotten spun right here, and I reach over here to push the power button, nope, missed it. It's over on this side. Or if it's here, every time I go to turn this on, I nearly always have to spin this around to find where the buttons are at. On, off, on, off, on, off. It's nearly instantaneous. And so, like I said, that's the most important thing to me, and that's why the Snark really wins out for me. Although, like I said, the KLIQ UberTuner is a very good tuner. It has several things going for it. It's got this better connection here between the tuner and how it hooks onto the guitar or instrument. It's got a bigger screen, but the power button is what makes the difference for me. And if they found out some way to do something different with this power button, then it would make a lot of a difference for me. So this is going to be 123 doing a quick comparison of the Snark SN-8 to the KLIQ UberTuner. Both of these are very good tuners. You won't go wrong with either one of these. Thanks for watching today.